If you find yourself faced with a programming problem revolving Plotly or Dash, and if you're seeking help on this problem, there are two great resources that you can refer to where you can directly work with the community to ask your questions and hopefully find solutions to the problems that you're facing. So, one of those great resources is going to be the Plotly forum. This is something that I'm actively on because I get to see how others are developing, the questions that they're asking, what people are building, and it allows me to become a better, more efficient programmer in this specific skill set. So I highly recommend jumping on the Plotly forum, creating an account, and adding it to your phone because then it's just easy to access and read through the daily posts and see what people are having to say within the Plotly Dash community. So this is a great resource. And recently there is a Discord server, which is also a great resource because these are more of the individuals who are really active within the community and they are the most skilled in regards to Plotly and Dash and who can directly be referred to with problems or things that you're facing in development, and a great resource to ask those questions too. But before we jump into asking a question, there's some proper etiquette that we should address prior to help you have the best chance of success in getting your questions answered and to keep both of these resources clean and professional. So, before you go about asking your question, the first thing that you should focus on is searching other areas within the forum or on Google or using AI to first see if you can solve the problem. So within the form itself, there's this search field that you can use, and you can search before asking your question. So, for example, if I have a question about leaflet marker, I can type in leaflet marker, and then you can get a list of questions and posts in regard to this. You can click on more because you can see more posts in regards to the search field that you are inquiring upon. This could be great because, like, for example, like let's just say that we're having a marker scale factor issue. We can go to this, we can see the post of somebody else, and then we can see what they used to solve it. So this is a great resource to keep the forum clean and not ask the same questions over and over again. So I highly recommend, and it's just best practice to look around prior to asking the question. Then let's say that we still haven't found something that directly refers to the problem that we're facing, and we are trying to inquire about it further. So let's understand the problem first. In order to do that, it's best to create a limited working example of what you have. There's a few ways of going about that. Just for example, if you have a large app file with a bunch of code and the problem is specific to a component, try to take that out of the whole app file and build a new project that just focuses on understanding the problem that you are facing. Now, whenever this is done, then you could refer to resources like PyCafe to launch a development example of the problem that you're facing so that people can have an interactive view of not only what you're working on in its limited facet, but they can see the problem in real time and they can refer to the code along with the application in broad view. Now, with that done, the next thing would be is to clearly specify a title. So it's best not to ask questions like help exclamation mark or programming question for the title. It's best whenever you go to create a new topic to give something that is direct. So ask something like callback in regards to whatever component, this is the error, but try to keep it concise but focused on what the problem is rather than having something broad that doesn't directly give an indication of what this post is going to be about so that the right people can find the post and jump into it. The next thing that we would like to address is to provide context to what your setup entails. So, for example, if you're working in older Dash 2.182, then specify that in your post. If you're working in Dash 3, specify the version of Dash that you are working within. If the problem arises outside of just Dash, give context to that so that people are able to focus in on the problem that you are facing. Now, this is just a post that is recent and it's a good structure, but it doesn't satisfy all the etiquette in regards of it clearly states what the problem is in the title. It gives a base preview of what they're trying to explore. It directly declares the problem, and then it also asks the question, and then it asks suggestions. So just having a format that's layered like that is useful. The only thing that I would also include would be the limited working example and directly adding code. Now, whenever you go to create a post, for example, and I'll create it with you, if we go into the code section, it's best to use this format, and you can directly add py or Python, and then you put your code within that. So for example, I'll pull up some code and we'll see what this looks like with and without that. So let's say that I'm having an issue with this callback, and I provide the section within the layout that it's referring to. This looks nice, so that people can see what you are creating. Without this, it doesn't look as nice as it should. And whenever you are going to create posts, it's the same format for both Discord and within the form. You can type in this type of approach to keep your code within a block, and you want to create that code block. And then you also want to do that within the Discord, where you could just do the same thing, and then you could just paste your code, and then you can do that. And then whenever you go to create that, it's going to create it in a way that is readable in Python, and it highlights the specific syntax that is associated with the Python language, which makes it easier on the eyes and helps the people that are helping you debug your problem be able to spot the inconsistencies or where the problem might be arising from. So with that, the last bit of advice that I have for you is to not only show your code, but to give a brief understanding of what you have tried previously, the problems that arose from that, and what approaches that didn't find the solution that you are looking for, so that other people can quickly use that context to help them resolve your issue. Be patient, because the people that are responding to you on the forum are those that are the most active in the open source community, but they usually have other jobs or other commitments, and they do it in their own free time. And with that, do not use, for example, in Discord, like a at all or everybody. Try not to alert everybody with a question. Just focus it on the question, post it, and somebody within the forum usually will get to it relatively within a day or two. So just be patient, and if you haven't solved the problem within that time, I am sure that somebody within the community will show up and give some guidance on how to resolve it. As luckily within Plotly and the forum and the Discord, there is a active user base that is constantly trying to help people with their problems on these great resources. And we're really appreciative for the community that Plotly has been able to build up, and for those that help those. So with that, do not cross post. Mark as a solution whenever you create a post. If you find the solution, there's a button underneath it. So for example, this is a post that I made. If this was a solution, I could click on this button and it would mark this as the solution to a problem that I have asked. And that will help the forum itself, and for those searching, to understand where the problem was solved at, so that if you are searching for a similar problem, you can quickly get to the solution. So lastly, just pay it forward. If you ask a question, make sure to answer a question, as it will help you become a better developer, and it's just good practice to give back to the community that is helping you progress along your journey. So with that, I hope that this is useful. Like I said, in the description down below, there's going to be links to the forum and to the Discord. So make sure that you join both of those, because they are great resources, and you'll meet other like-minded individuals who are working in this skill set who could become great friends. And it is a great way for you to grow individually and in your career. So with that, thank you for watching, like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.